Good day, everybody. My name is the Non Sequitarian. I wanted to talk about today The Last Jedi. I am a big Star Wars fan, but The Last Jedi made a terrible Star Wars movie. The dialogue was plain awful. He's tooling with you, sir. It became a 5-minute commercial at the beginning of the movie for Verizon. Can he hear me now? Can he hear me now? And then we have Yoda's famous line in the thing, page turners they were not. Which I cannot imagine Master Yoda, the great Master Yoda, who was excellently depicted in the prequel films that are hated on, saying something as cringy as fuck, like that. Like, page turners they were not. It's books in the Star Wars universe where the Jedi had holocrons. It's the Sith holocron and the Jedi holocron. There were no books. It was dumb. Dumb. Rian Johnson should have been slapped for having any sort of involvement when writing this script. He should have been fired as soon as Disney or Lucas or anyone read this thing and said, "Who the hell do you think you are?" They made zero bold decisions. This was a big thing for me because that's all I hear is, "Oh, it's so bold. They killed Luke and yada. They're trying to kill off the past. It's not bold. It's something they have to do because, honest to God, the actors are aging. They killed off the wrong actor. They could have fixed this problem easily. Leia could have died in the scene where he decided to become Space Mary Poppins. Or she could have died, giving her life for the rebellion and being the one to drive the ship into Snoke's ship at light speed. Or, any number of ways they could have made it so we don't have to watch CGI Leia in the next one. It would have been a few reshoots of scenes if they decided to use her to be the sacrifice for the rebellion. But no. Now we have to endure CGI Leia for episode 9. The Dreadnought gets destroyed. Leia becomes Mary Poppins instead of the tragic death that would have been justified, and there's an hour-and-a-half chase sequence with minor asides that do nothing to advance the story. It's the lamest use of Del Toro in any acting capacity I've ever seen. He mumbles, and he speaks French. Why are they speaking French in the goddamn Star Wars universe? Everyone speaks English for a reason, or they speak, an alien language, because English is basic, and there's a reason. Humans speak basic. They cop out of explaining Snoke through a ridiculous, unceremonious death scene. He makes no sense. He violates the rule of two for the Sith. He came to power in the Empire without, having any, role in the Empire. He doesn't exist in any of the old canon. And he makes no sense. Why wouldn't it be a general who's the leader of the new First Order that rose from the ashes of the Empire? Why wouldn't it be, any of the number of the Grand Moffs? There's plenty of things they could have used. That bullshit hyperspace tracking. And don't get me started, "Oh, it was explained in Rogue One. She said the Death Star had hyperspace tracking." Well, it obviously didn't because they never were able to track anyone in the original trilogy made. But this supposed hyperspace tracking is now developed 40 to 60 years later after the events of Rogue One. Yeah, good job, Disney. Good job, Rian Johnson. Good job, J.J. Abrams. You people were terrible. You ruined things. There were creature effects everywhere in an obvious attempt to sell toys, and Phasma is obviously just a toy-selling attempt. It's the most pointless character I've seen. She has fucking armor that deflects laser bolts. Oh, but we can't make every stormtrooper's armor out of this super deflective material, because that makes sense. Let's just put it on one of our soldiers. They're sure to kill everyone because we've got one soldier who can deflect the laser bolts. And then they bastardize Luke's character. Like Luke Skywalker, the great Luke Skywalker, who everyone knew and loved as a kid. The guy who, had qualms about killing his own father, even though his father was, well, let's just use the SJW term of literally Hitler. He didn't want to kill. But he has no problem, killing his nephew because he thinks his nephew might turn to the dark side. What the fuck type of bullshit writing is that? What type of cop-out is that? Whoever wrote that should have been fired immediately. No one should have dealt with that crap. The movie was lame. That hour-and-a-half chase sequence was ridiculous. Ridiculous. I mean, then they jumped to a casino, and all this could have been avoided had the tumbler hair general decided to say, "Hey, everybody, here's the plan. We're going to go to that planet." To which someone could have said, "That's a really dumb fucking idea. This is the only planet anywhere near our ship, and you're going to tell us that we're going to evacuate to there? This is a highly trained military organization following us. They're going to figure out we're going to evacuate to that planet. Are you dumb?" Yeah, she's pretty dumb. But what do you expect from a woman? Ha! I'm just kidding. But, I'm going to get a lot of hate for the next thing, because once again I hate a woman character, because Chunk-a-Chink. Chunk-a-Chink, who is the most contrived and useless character ever, also known as Rose, is just fat and useless, and why the hell would she be in the rebellion? She has no type of, physicality to be a soldier. She has no type of, love and want to be a soldier. She was a janitor, for the love of God, and, glorified janitor, and suddenly she's flying a ship. How does she know how to do this? That made no sense either. But her character ruins Finn's character, because Finn, who makes no sense to me, he was a hardened person. He was kidnapped at a young age, and he's supposed to be a child soldier, basically, and he ended up growing a moral compass out of nowhere. Moral compasses are not innate. Look at the child soldiers in Africa. Are you telling me that an African dictator has more efficacy than the highly efficient and highly wealthy First Order? Yeah, I'm sorry. There's no breaking the Stormtrooper programming. It was so dumb. Like, it made no sense. But I was willing to let that go. And I almost liked Finn for a moment because he was about to sacrifice himself for the movement, and it would have made a dark film that was supposed to be gritty, because that's what I kept hearing. It's a dark, gritty Star Wars film. Could have made a really good scene where he finally goes out of his way and, sacrifices himself, stops the First Order in their tracks because they no longer have anything to break through the rebel base. But no, she ruins it. But she was in that whole casino scene, which was like the worst scene ever. As I said, the whole movie felt like it was there to sell toys for Disney. And that scene just added so many extra characters. You can bet your butt people are out there buying new figures of Star Wars for completely useless and irrelevant characters. And with that casino scene, who besides me was hoping for Lando Calrissian? I mean, they're going to casino, for God's sakes. It would have been a perfect time to bring up, the suave, the debonair Billy D. Williams to become one of the heroes that helps out the Alliance. Instead, they give Guillermo del Toro, as I said, his worst ever acting appearance. It was terrible. And even the projection piece with Luke is a complete cop-out. Like, he's meditating and projecting himself, but, he's physically interacting too, because those lightsabers are clashing. You can watch it happen. And all of a sudden, Ren just passes through Luke Skywalker, and it's like, this made sense. Good job, Disney. That really... I know I'm complaining a lot about things, but there's a reason for it. This was a terrible Star Wars film. Star Wars is science fantasy. And I'll say science fantasy again and again and again. It has laser swords. It has, good versus evil. And that's the way it was meant to be. It's a high fantasy where, people are either good or they're evil. There's no real in between. And yes, people can be redeemed. We saw that with Lando Calrissian. We see that in Han Solo. But we don't, really see someone who's, I play both sides. No, there's good people and evil people. And that's part of the fun of it, is one person is really the good guy, one person is really the bad guy. The Empire should be evil, but you know what? This whole movie had me rooting for Kylo Ren to wipe out those whiny rebel scum. Especially Tumbler Hair and Chunk-a-Chink. I have no problem with the whole, there's females in every single thing. That's one of the big complaints of people who are complaining about it for political reasons. Even in the older movies, who was the big general? General Leia. Who else was the big general? Mon Mothma. Who else was the big general? Admiral Akbar. It's really an interesting thing, because they were all females or aliens before as leaders of the rebellion. And that's fine. I mean, Star Wars is the most diverse film out there. How can you get more diverse than millions of other species and humans? That's kind of like the whole point of diversity, is multiple races here. And there's tons of them, tons of them, tons of them. But this is my little rant. I was not a fan of The Last Jedi, and I really wanted to be, because I'm a fan of every Star Wars thing out there, especially the old extended universe. And while I never cared if it was canon or not, I'm really sad with what's becoming canon. Thank you for listening. Everyone have a wonderful day. This has been the Non Sequitarian.